Hey guys, welcome to the latest episode of Beyond the Tape, a podcast where we focus on rad people doing rad things within the Australian mountain bike industry, whether they're athletes, media crew, mechanics, trail builders, whoever. This episode we're focusing on a racer by the name of Ellie Smith, the current women's national champion, current women's oceanic champion, and absolute shredder and nicest human you'll ever meet. Before we go too far into the podcast, let's talk about some sponsors and supporters of the podcast. This episode is brought to you by the Trek Super Caliber. It is a game-changing cross-country mountain bike that is fast, light, and smooth through all the rough stuff. I mean, your hardtails are efficient, your full suspension bikes keep you in control, but only the Super Caliber can keep you best parts of both, really. The reason I'm talking about this is because we've got the Outstout cross-country on this weekend, looking fast, looking good, and Beck McDonald's already won the short course, which is sick. But the Super Caliber has these flex days, the unique ISO strut, and a super lightweight carbon frame that just wants to excel up hills. The best thing about it, can fit 2 drink bottles, so one full of beer and one full of water, and you can put whatever else you like in your saddlebag. Sick little bike. Jump over to treks.com.au and check out that bike. Next up, this podcast is supported to you by Gaffer Bike. These guys have just released their new Disc Shark disc. It's got these unique fins that go inside the disc, into the inside diameter. These fins, together with the rotor's small internal round holes, allow the operating temperature of the disc to be reduced. So not only do they look cool, but they keep cooler. And the exterior wave design and lateral openings give it a powerful and, just gives you good grip throughout the whole entire time you're braking, while keeping things cool and getting all the mud out. If you want to chuck those on some amazing Helens RXF 34 M2-29. Man, what a name, rolls off the tongue. Anyway, their naming might not be great, but the fork is damn good. The RXF 34 is the gold standard for short travel forks. So if you get yourself a Trek Super Caliber, throw some of those Galfa discs on and throw these Helens RXF 34s on there. Short travel 120 to 130mm setups, optimized for lightweight 29-inch trail bikes. I mean, they just weigh in at 1.7 kilos, so damn light. And they've got the new OTX 18 downcountry damper in it. So, they're designed to be light, they work well, and best of all is you can get them from NS Dynamics here in Australia. This podcast is also brought to you by Taylor Trails, the leading people down in Tasmania that will organise group trips for you down in Tassie. So if you want to go down there with a bunch of people, group of up to 18 of your mates, and just ride bikes and let the rest be taken care of, hit up Taylor Trails now and they will sort out your trip. Whenever I'm traveling, I love to have the Pedro's Burrito toolkit from Lead Out Sports in my car. It takes about 30 seconds to roll out, keeps all my tools in it, super easy to use. No faffing about with this stupid toolbox that you got to layers. It's not a fucking parfait, it's a toolbox. The Burrito toolkit is designed just to be opened, used, and rolled back up again. Super tough. Love it. Franked AirTech jerseys. Man, I mean, we're coming into the winter months, but I still sweat like an English walnut. The AirTech keeps me nice and cool. Super rip resistant. Absolutely love their designs. So hit up franked.com.au. If you're looking for a custom mudguard, make sure you hit up Dirt Surfers. These guys do 100% recycled and 100% recyclable mudguards with custom designs, or if you can't think of something custom, choose one of their unique ones. Crush are killing it at the moment. Some are even saying crushing it. Maybe they're saying crushing it. If you're anything like me, you absolutely stink. Make sure you grab some of their Sanex product. A couple of sprays of this in your sweaty, disgusting, dirty gear before you throw it in the car. Man, trust me, your missus will thank you, or your boyfriend will thank you, or whatever. It just makes your car smell like bubblegum, makes the rest of your gear smell like bubblegum. It's happy days. And again, Fist have just released Chapter 18 gloves. There are some cool designs in there, even one from our good friend Baxter. So make sure you jump over to fist.com.au and check them out. That's enough of my dribbling. So enjoy this podcast. We talk a bit about welding. Yep, welding. We talk about racing. We talk about women in sport. We talk about marketing. We talk about everything. Ellie Smith is an absolute legend. So grab beer, grab a water, grab a wine, grab whatever makes you happy, and enjoy the podcast.
That's exactly what I figured.
Cool. Let's jump straight in then. Let's get it done. Easy. Well, yeah, Ellie Smith, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
For those who don't follow like the Australian mountain bike news this year and might be living under a rock, who are you and what do you kind of do?
I am a downhill and enduro mountain bike racer from the Central Coast. And also a sheet metal fabricator and welder.
Yeah. I mean, this is usually a bike podcast, but I'm pretty interested in the whole sheet metal fabrication and welding thing. Like, what drew you to that?
Yeah.
Like,
to be completely honest, it was a bit of a chance thing. So I don't know if you know him, but Timbo Butler, his Pat Butler's dad, he has a lot to do with the bike scene. But he's a plumber, and he sort of messaged me when I was still in school and said, "Hey, do you want an apprenticeship doing welding?" And at first I was like, no, like I'm at school and what the heck's welding? Like, but then he convinced me to come and have a look at where I would have been working, which was Mars Food, and I ended up going for the apprenticeship, getting the job, and just sort of really enjoyed it. So just went for it.
So that's such a random way to get into it, like just a random.
Yeah, it is random. It's not like, I dreamed about it my whole life or anything, but I definitely love it now, and I'm super stoked that I stumbled across it because it's definitely a big part of my life now.
What do you kind of do like on a day-to-day basis when you're doing that?
So I just finished my apprenticeship, so I'm currently not working full time now, but when I was at Mars Food, they make food, Domio, pasta sauce, Uncle Ben's rice and stuff like that. So I'm welding all the tube that the food sort of goes through, and getting inside some of the tanks that cook the food and welding up cracks, just basically keeping the massive factory running, just doing maintenance stuff and engineering projects, stuff like that. So a lot of TIG welding. That's definitely the main type of welding I did and do. I'm still working casually now for Tim a bit to keep getting a bit of money to fund the riding.
That's such a unique kind of out there job. It's one of those jobs, I guess, you don't think needs to be done. It's just a... Yeah.
Everyone's like, how is there enough steel and pipes to weld in there? I'm like, trust me, it's massive. There's so much to it. I would never afford it, but when you see the factory, it's crazy, what our food is made in.
What's the difference in I know I'm going on a tangent here and people are tuning out right now, but what is the difference between MIG and TIG welding and all that type of stuff as well? I'm just generally interested.
I think the quickest and easiest way to explain it is TIG, you've got a gun with your electrode in it. Where's my hand? And you actually feed the wire in manually. You choose when you want to dab it and create the weld. So you get a really nice clean weld, minimal sparks and spatter and noise. So that's why it's good for food grade welding. And then MIG, actually the wire shoots out of the gun. So you just press the trigger and you set the speed you want the wire to come out, and that comes out and melts straight into the pool. And then stick welding, you've actually just got your electrode holder, a big stick that goes in it, and that actually feeds into the actual weld. The electrode is a consumable in the weld, if that makes sense. Whereas with TIG, your electrode doesn't go into the weld, it just shoots the electricity through it, I suppose.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know if that made any sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's so interesting. What is it about Do you have a favorite preferred one, and why?
Definitely TIG welding, probably because like I've done it the most, so I'm really comfortable with it. But also because like you can really control it and make it look exactly how you want it to look. A lot of people reckon it's the hardest, but like I suppose because I just got straight into it, it's just what I know. So yeah, I really enjoy it.
There's like a lot of welding nerds, like welding Instagram profiles and videos and everything. Like, do you go that deep into it? Like,
oh yeah, for sure. Like, I do definitely follow a lot of welding accounts, and especially like I follow a fair few girl welders. I reckon it's cool seeing a fair few more girls getting into it. Same with riding. Like, love being a part of that, and yeah, getting stoked for other women trying out cool jobs.
yeah, I was actually going to say it seems like a pretty male dominated field. Like, are there many women welding and getting out there?
No. Yeah, so I think the latest I've heard, I think the welding sector is 2% female. So like it's doubled in the past few years, but like it's still very low. But like I do know a few girls who do it, so it is growing. But yeah, not heaps.
Yeah. Oh, sick. So interesting. Are you ever going to get around to like welding up your own dirt jumper or welding up your own bike and making something?
Everyone keeps asking me that, and like I should, but like I just want to ride. I'm like like especially when I was working full time, I'm like I welded all day and I just wanted to get home and ride my bike. I'm like I cannot be bothered to make one at this point. Like maybe in the future, but yeah, for now probably not.
Maybe we'll see like a Ellie Smith with WRP collab parts at some point.
Hey, maybe look out, there might be.
Yeah, let's talk about riding because it's probably a riding podcast.
Yeah.
You're pretty quick and you're pretty damn good at it. But how did you kind of get into the sport as a start, I guess?
To start with, I actually was super into dancing when I was younger until I was about 14, and then at school sport, one of the options was mountain biking, and I thought, oh well, I'll give that a go. Like, had no clue about it, and yeah, like just turned up, went for it, and turned out I loved it. And I actually met my partner Duke that day at school sport, and like we became good mates straight away, and he just sort of like got me into it and never looked back. So that's sort of how it started. Just started riding all the time.
What style of dancing and stuff were you into? Like ballet or was it hip hop stuff?
Everything. Hey, like,
yeah, right.
The whole everything. Yeah. So yeah, super into it. And like my whole family was and still is. My brother is actually in Cirque du Soleil. I'm not sure if you heard of that.
Yeah.
Over in Vegas.
The rock I live under is not that big. Yeah.
You never know. Some people surprisingly have it, but yeah. So
sick.
Yeah, he's been a very successful dancer. Yeah. So yeah.
That's no joke.
Every style. Yeah,
that's
no
crazy.
joke. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think there's like a certain point of muscle memory and muscle mind connection that's transferred from the dance into your mountain biking and ability on the bike?
I reckon for sure. I have always thought, like I got into mountain biking sort of late, similar to Sian. Actually, I started a similar time to her.
Okay.
So I was 15, yeah. And I always thought, I missed out on like, growing up and doing BMX and all that, like missed out on that bike life to begin with. But I really do think that like the discipline I learned as like a dancer and the like core strength and all of that spatial awareness that I learned, I think that transferred really quickly. Like that's what helped me to learn how to sort of get comfortable and pretty quickly, I reckon for sure.
Yeah, right. How did the what do you mean by the discipline and training and stuff? Like, were you quite regimented and everything with dance? Or
yeah, very like go to school every day and then straight to dancing till probably 9 o'clock at night every single night of the week. And like a lot of competitions and so it was pretty full on. It was full time almost. Like
right. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's obviously got to help with your like competitive mindset as well, right? Like if you're doing dance competitions, which I imagine are pretty
They're intense. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and especially the pressure I think that you put on yourself with that kind of thing. Like it's always scary, you know, getting up in front of a lot of people and having to remember a whole routine, especially the ones when you're doing by yourself, like a solo dance. Like, yeah, it was quite stressful, honestly, but it did, teach me a lot how to deal with nerves from a young age. And so I think I was able to transfer that across. I think that actually at first racing seemed like less stressful. I mean, as I've got into doing bigger races, they are definitely, I mean, pretty scary and nerve-wracking as well. But yeah.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. For sure. Especially up at the pointy end.
Oh, yeah.
What was it that on that first ride, do you remember what it was that kind of made you fall in love with the riding?
I think the perfect mix of like adrenaline, like because you're doing like at that time, especially something I'd never done. So you're just like trying to work it out. You're like out in the bush and you're like getting to know people. And like, so I made a whole heap of new friends that day. And just like, there was so many, like, it was just a cross country ride, but there was so many like little features that I couldn't do, of course, like on my first ride. And I straight away was like, oh, like I'd love to be able to do that. So just like got excited about like the amount of progression I'd probably be able to have because I just love that. Like, so just straight away, there was like this feature at the local track at Arimba. They call it the drop. It's actually fairly easy, but it's just like a big steep roll down. And I remember like I just went home that day and told my dad, oh, there's this like drop they all ride down. I'd love to do that. And like for the next month I G'd myself up to do it. And so I think I just got excited about that aspect of it, pushing myself.
What was your parents' reactions going from dance and doing that type of thing to mountain biking? Because they're quite opposite.
Yeah, they are like polar opposite. They were pretty supportive. Actually, it was funny. I was talking to my dad this morning about it because he was actually talking to one of his customers. He's a Bobcat driver, and my very first bike he actually bought off one of his customers. It was just like a $300 giant XC bike, and he just bought it and told him at the time, oh, it's probably just a phase, like I'm not going to get her like a super good bike, like because you know, who knows if she'll even enjoy it. And he said, who would have thought like all these years later, like now he'd be national champion and like, you know, still riding.
They were just, it's just a phase, it's just going to wear out type of thing.
I mean, sort of like in a way, like they were of course supportive, but like I don't know, like at the time I was super into my dancing. Like in 2013 I think it was, like I, you know, competed at the nationals, and from memory I won one of the categories at nationals, so I was really into it. So like it was a pretty abrupt change, so props to them for like being super supportive parents and be like, okay, like if this is what you want to do and fully change sports, like okay, like they just sort of supported it.
Were their eyes watering once they realised how much the cost of getting into mountain biking was? Or
yeah, I don't know. Like we tried to keep it cheap. Like Dad did buy me my first downhill bike. I think it was $1,000. So I guess that is pricey. But yeah, it was a secondhand giant, and I just rode that until it wasn't too long until I think it was Mondraker Australia at the time hit me up and ended up getting on a bit of a sweet deal with them. So yeah, it wasn't, I mean, yeah, it's expensive, but yeah, luckily got a bit of support from the start sort of. So
yes, sick.
Yeah.
So were you kind of interested in racing and competing in it from the get-go, or was it always just like so. The challenges as well?
Yeah, it was just the challenges, but I think racing was always a part of that challenge. Like my dad was a super successful enduro motorbike racer, and I always sort of looked up to him and always watched videos and read like some magazines and stuff that he was in back in the 80s and whatever, and always thought that was super cool. Never really saw myself being a racer or anything, but I think maybe subconsciously that was in my brain and got me excited to do that. And I think just because honestly, Duke just said, oh, there's like local races, you should just come and do them. Like there wasn't really, I can't remember. I don't think there was really any other girls racing at the local races at the time. There might have been one or two. But so I just sort of did it, for fun and to challenge myself.
Yeah, that's sick. Was it?
Yeah.
So racing, like to me, it almost seems like one of the best ways to kind of meet people in mountain biking because it is a solo sport. Was it kind of like that for you? Like you went out there and just met all these people and it was quite welcoming?
Yeah, I think so. I was a pretty nervous young girl, so I wasn't the most sort of out there and outgoing person. I met a few people, that's for sure, and expanded the network a bit, but it took me a while to grow the confidence to sort of just strike up conversations with everyone. But like my younger brother and stuff started racing with me, so I sort of, hung out with him, rode with him and Duke at first. Yeah.
That's sick. How many women were racing when you started? Do you remember?
Like in the local or
in local,
sort of New South Wales. Local, it's hard to recall, but I really don't remember there being. I'm not sure if there was anyone. Like if there was, it was one or two. Like not many at all.
Was the competitive side and you kind of always competing with yourself, or were you competing against some of the men in times, or how did you kind of approach that type of thing if there's not that many ladies racing?
Yeah, I'd always sort of compare my time to, I think I was either under 15 men or, at first, I don't really know. At first, I was just trying to beat my own time each time I went. Because when you first start racing, you just improve heaps every race. Like I remember first race at Fredbo, like my very first race was interschools at Fredbo.
Yeah, right.
And and then I went back like the next month and beat my time on the downhill by 30 seconds, which is pretty ridiculous. Like there's no way the improvements would be like that these days. It'd be 1 second max. So I just remember getting so excited every time. I'd write my times down on my notes on my phone and get so excited if I beat my time. But then it did get to the point where I started, I guess, taking it a little more seriously and started comparing my times to some of the guys. And at state and national level, there was probably maybe 3 girls. So I was able to, have a little bit of competition there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's super interesting and something I see a lot of the competitive people, even juniors, competing, finding people in classes above seem to progress so much better and faster for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's
for sure, definitely. Yeah.
So it obviously seems like you were pretty quick to go from just entering into the sport to racing and then being pretty good at it. Were you kind of winning races and being successful in that aspect straight away?
I did win my first race, but there wasn't a heap of, that was probably 3 girls max at first, when I was racing. And I did do all right from the get-go, but definitely improved a lot within the first year. There was just so much improvement that I saw. But then it tapered off a bit, you improve heaps and then just sort of mellow out for a bit and then just, started crashing a bit because I was trying to go probably a bit too fast. And then, get a bit better again and Yeah,
I feel like I've mellowed out for the last 10 years.
See, that's okay. Some people need to.
Have you had many big crashes or big offs or big injuries in your time?
Yeah, not as many as a lot of people, but I broke my ankle. Actually, the first sort of decent injury at my second Junior World Champs over in Switzerland. Unfortunately, on my second practice run, I had a mad crash and managed to concuss myself pretty bad. I don't remember heaps about the crash. I know the section of track, but so didn't end up getting a race. The UCI doctor said, I was pretty badly concussed. And I just remember I wasn't even allowed to leave. I had to stay in a dark room for a couple of days to let my brain rest. And I was allowed out on race day, but I was so gutted to miss out. That was my first sort of experience of sort of being injured and having to miss out on something that I'd worked hard to do. And then I broke my ankle the following year. Literally a year later, actually, down at Maydena. Wow. I was doing, I forget what it's called. Is it Maydena hits or something? I don't think they're there anymore, but there was a couple decent sized jumps. And on the last one, I absolutely cased it. It's on my Instagram if you want to watch it. It's pretty bad. Just
I'm good.
50 cased it, broke my ankle on impact and got shot over the bars. So that was sort of my second injury. And then the following year, injured my wrist. This one seems like it's so annoying because it's been the worst one to get over. It's still, I actually had to get a ultrasound on it yesterday. I've still got a bit of fluid in it, and a year and a half later, just had a silly crash over the bars and obviously landed weird and have just sort of like damaged tendons and all sorts of stuff in my wrist, which has sort of just led to, I think it's tendonitis. It's hard to get a proper diagnosis, but it still gives me trouble here and there. But yeah, they're sort of my only injuries.
Yeah, wrists are worse. They just so annoying because they're just so. You have to use
You're always
them.
using them.
Yeah, you can't just rest it.
Especially writing and welding, and you're just like always whacking things, and you're like, oh crap, like just never gets better. It's frustrating, but yeah.
I think you're the first person I've heard of where the UCI said you can't race like a UCI doctor. Is that because you're a junior?
Yeah. Okay. I've got no clue, hey, because I actually haven't raced a world level race since then. So I'm not super across sort of how that works. But yeah, they took me down in one of the ambulances, went to the doctor, and they did just, an assessment and said, like you can't race. So I'm not sure.
It's good. Like it is a good thing because concussions.
Oh, it is. Definitely. There's no way. Yeah. I'm really glad that there was someone in that position that could make that call, because let's be honest, I don't know if I would have myself if it was up to me.
No, you wouldn't. I know exactly.
Because
wouldn't.
you'd like worked so hard to be there, and did so much fundraising to get over there, and just sort of felt like I let myself and a lot of people down, but it's how it is.
Was it a big hurdle to kind of get over after that? Like, because as you say, it's no easy feat to get over to world champs.
Yeah, I think like looking back on it now, I think it was at the time. I thought I was dealing with it okay, but I do look back now and see that sort of like after that, sort of 2019, 2020, I sort of struggled a bit. Like since then with confidence, and especially because I just sort of get a bit of confidence back, and then broke my ankle, and then just get a bit of confidence back, injured my wrist, and then so I just sort of mellowed out and almost probably went actually downhill for a while there. So I think that might have sort of kicked that off. So I think, it probably did upset me a bit.
Yeah, those consistent injuries, like there's times I wish I just took up knitting. Like it just makes so much more sense. Or maybe dancing or something where it's way less death, just being injured.
Yeah, it does suck, but it's all worth it in the end when it gets good again.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You hop on a bike, you hit that first corner, you're like, yeah, okay. This is cool.
You're like, what's I thinking about?
Yeah. And then you injure yourself again. But
oh, no. That's weird.
What was it like going to Welds? Like, how was the selection process? Like, was it a goal of yours to get there? Like, how was that process? Yeah,
it definitely was. Yeah, so I raced Worlds in Cairns for my first year of junior, which was pretty cool. And that one went a bit better. Like I got fifth in the end. I was the fastest first year junior, which I was stoked about. So all the girls that were ahead of me were a year older. So I felt super keen for the following year. But yeah, the process for getting selected was I won the national series and national champs, and applied for it. And then just had to. Cairns was obviously pretty straightforward to get to. Just booked flights up there, and that was all good. But my second year junior, did a bit of fundraising. Luckily, I started my apprenticeship that year, which was another bit of a reason that I was keen to start working, because I knew I wanted to get over there.
Yeah.
That plus a bit of fundraising got me over there. Yeah.
Where was it again? That one? I can't remember.
Helens.
Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Switzerland. Yeah.
Was that your first international race, obviously? What was it like going over there and
Oh,
seeing that track? Oh, sorry. Second.
It was my well, I raced a European Cup race like the weekend before in Austria.
Okay.
But yeah, it was like my first time over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was honestly so daunting. Looking back, I wish I had have gone over earlier and done a bit of riding on some other tracks like over there just to get used to it, because it is so much different to home. Like I just remember getting there and being like, oh my God, these jumps are huge and like there's so many routes and this is so steep. And I just think my mental game probably wasn't as good back then as well. And that probably honestly got to me and like was probably a part of the reason I crashed. It was just pretty overwhelming and probably just wasn't focusing enough on the things I should have been, and yeah, got distracted and crashed.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at the tracks on Red Bull and stuff and they all look flat and they all look easy, and that's because the riders are so damn good. Like,
I know, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you get over there and it's a whole different ball game.
And jet lag and dealing with different language and all that type of thing. It's just such a big deal.
And different food and like being kind of young. Like how was it? I think I just turned 18. And like, yeah, so first time sort of being away from home and away from the family and, had the Aussie team there, which was cool, but that was just like sort of another hurdle because I was used to having my family around all the time when I'm riding. Like that's a big comfort for me. I've realized now I love riding with Duke and my brothers and just having family around. So that was a challenge in itself, I think.
What was it like having, I guess, what was the support and stuff from the Australian Federation and stuff like? Obviously, you got to pay your way there, but is there much set up for you on the other end? Like, how's that kind of work?
So there's like there was a team manager and mechanic. It was really like it was pretty good. Like, we were super lucky. We sort of just had to pay for it, but then we were looked after. We all flew over together. And sort of, we're together as a team, which did help a lot. Like, you sort of got close with the guys, and I was lucky enough to have another girl, Sally, who was on the team both years with me. So that part was good. Like, that was definitely comforting, having that team environment and that support for sure.
And you have coaches and stuff that head over there with you as well?
Yeah. So Indy was the coach, Julia. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So that was good. Yeah.
And then I think it's just about when COVID hit, right? So you couldn't really travel or do anything.
Yeah, well, I like the following year I raced a few of the Crankworks rounds, which was sick. Like when I go to Whistler, that was my first year in elite. I didn't race world champs that year. I sort of just didn't apply. I think I just wasn't in the greatest headspace and didn't feel up to racing it. I thought I'd just do a few Crankworks rounds, try to get the confidence back, and so did Rotorua and Whistler. I think I got a top 8 in the pump track in one of the rounds at Whistler. But other than that, didn't get any crazy results that year. And then 2020, COVID hit. So this year's really been my first, I'd say, proper year in elite so far, like actually doing a few races in the elite category. Because in 2019 I missed out on cannonball because had my broken ankle. Like that would have been my first elite cannonball. I raced pump track, but that was all because I just wasn't up to doing the downhill and stuff yet. Yeah,
right. What was the Crankworks experience like? That looks like a whole different ball game to the World Cups or World Champs.
Yeah, like I still honestly am very new to, like I've only really raced the one World Champs because the second one didn't go amazingly, but it's definitely a different vibe. Like everyone's super nice. It's more laid back. I just remember even all like the top girls were like so nice and helpful and like giving me tips because I raced pump track, slalom, downhill, like I did it all because I thought why not just give it a crack. So it was all very new to me, like learning how to, start in pump track with no chain and like getting out the gate. Like it was so overwhelming, like all of that, like, but everyone was so helpful. But it's sort of like a cannonball on steroids, I suppose. Like, you've got lots of different events in the week and so you've got to sort of make sure you don't go too hard. Like It's different. It's not like where you've just got the one race to focus on. You've got to like perform heaps of times in that 1 week. So it is big, but it's fun.
Yeah, was it hard to manage fatigue and not? I guess the other option like is your adrenaline's pumping the whole time, so you don't realize you're getting fatigued as well.
Yeah, I think like I think I didn't, could have managed probably like calming the adrenaline down a little more often maybe. Like I think I was definitely a little bit too hyped, so then sort of crashed towards the end, which is normally like not actually crash, but physically crash, sort of come downhill race day. And actually, I did crash in my Rotorua race run in 2019. I think now that I think about it, I try to forget these things, but so managing the fatigue and all that is definitely important. So I think it was a good learning curve for me. I think it's paid off. Like at the time it was hard and a steep learning curve, but I think in the long run it was good that I did that. Yeah.
Do you think like after all those injuries and I guess trying to race and perform and all those kind of hiccups and stuff, do you think COVID might have actually been a little bit of a positive, being able to kind of chill and just ride your bike and do that type of thing as well?
Yeah, I think so. Like for me anyway, and especially worked sort of well because I was in my final years of my apprenticeship the past couple of years. I actually took on, I finished my Cert 3 in 2020. So last year I did my Cert 4 in welding and also did 2 different welding pressure tickets, which is like 3 pretty gnarly courses to take on. Like I was working full time and then going to TAFE, straight to TAFE in like an hour away, 2 nights a week, getting home at like 10 o'clock. So I actually didn't even ride for the first 6 months of last year pretty much, because even on the weekends I was like practicing welding to try and pass my pressure tickets. Like, and at the time I thought, gosh, like I'm not even riding, like, and I'd sort of even felt like I'd lost a little, lost a bit of motivation to ride. At the time I was, but I think it's paid off because once I passed and got those tickets and my certification, I got back into riding, and I think it all worked out really well because I've got back into it and just was really excited, I guess, because I had to have so long off. So it worked out well in the end, I think, for sure. And COVID the year before as well, and even been able to save a bit of money, so now I can kind of travel this year.
Let's talk more about welding. What's a pressure ticket? I'm really keen.
A pressure ticket is so like a certification you get so you can weld to code standards. It's pretty handy to have, like, if you want to go for jobs, so I can weld pressure vessels and stuff like that now, things that have to be structurally sound. So you do it's normally meant to be a 6-month course, but I ended up doing it in a month, which was crazy, my first one. That's why I couldn't ride. I was just welding every day. I really wanted to get that just because, I think I was actually the first girl to do my Cert 4 at TAFE New South Wales and to do, from memory, those pressure tickets. And I just, I don't know, I was just really driven to do it. I just really wanted to do it and get those certificates and be able to do that. So that's what, pressure ticket is. And you've got 9 different pressure tickets for different types of welding. So,
That's so cool.
Again,
just things I don't know that I like learning about.
I didn't know about it a year ago. Don't worry.
I know people that do underwater. I've met people that do underwater welding and doing all that type of thing.
Have you? Yeah. I wanted to do that, but I decided it's too dangerous. Who would have thought that that's definitely more dangerous than mountain biking for sure.
It is. One of the gnarliest sentences I've ever heard is, I was like, what are workplace injuries like? And they're like, there are none, because you either you do it right or you don't survive. Dead. It's like there's no injuries. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I decided not for me.
And spending what was he? He was 3 months because they were deep down. They had those pods, the pressured pods, so they'd have to stay in there with the 3 people for 3 months. That was it.
You'd want to hope you get along. Like, imagine that.
We have to pass like a psych test.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
just so you don't end up a psychopathic guy.
Crazy.
And yeah, insane job. Weird tangent, but yeah, it was cool to meet that guy. Such a weird job and just insane.
I've always wanted to meet someone that does it. So yeah.
It's funny. He'd come back again. We'll keep going on this tangent, but he'd come back and he'd go on his enduro motorbike and just go away for like a month, like a week or two when he got back. Because he'd been with people for that long. Like he's just like, I got to get out and be by myself. Yeah, it's crazy.
We had some technical difficulties here, so it gets a bit awkward. Anyway, keep on listening.
Fine. Yeah, the video just stops every now and then, but that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Fingers crossed. It'll be good from now.
So yeah, you kind of had that year off. And, well, you were doing welding and doing all that type of thing, which kind of led up to 21, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that finished in 21. That finished at last year. Yep.
Yeah. And you obviously came into this year feeling pretty strong because you came out swinging.
Yeah, I did. I think it was like September or October last year where I distinctly remember that I really was like, I hadn't raced in a while and I knew I missed it. And so I, made a couple goals I wanted to get to the Enduro Nationals at the end of last year to start with. So I just sort of like got back on the bike and was stoked on it again and raced that and really enjoyed it. And then, just got fully back into it, riding as much as I could. And it was a little bit weird, actually, though, coming into the races this year. I definitely didn't set any expectations for myself, like, at all, other than going there and just literally giving it my best shot. Like, I knew I'd been riding a lot, but I had no idea because I missed out on national champs last year because of my wrist. So I like downhill nationals. So I hadn't like raced any of the super fast girls since like 2020. So like quite a while ago, 2 years ago. So it was weird. Like I knew I was riding good and, Duke and a few people were saying, yeah, like you're riding good. But like, if I'm totally honest, I didn't really believe them. I'm like, oh yeah, they're just being nice, but like, so I just went into the races just keen to like get back into it and see everyone and do my best. And it went pretty well.
It was nationals enduro as bad as all the guys make it sound like it was, like super hot and brutal.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was pretty hard. Like, and at the time I was thinking I wanted to get sort of into EWS racing, and that was sort of my first proper enduro race. And I'm like, my God, like, what am I thinking? This is torture. Like, I mean, it was sort of enjoyable, but also just like, it was proper torture. Like, I wanted to practice like on the Saturday before racing, but it was literally that hot. I was sweating just sitting there. I'm like, dude, if I ride today, like I won't make it through Sunday. And I was right. I'm glad I didn't practice on the Saturday because I only just made it through Sunday. Like us girls, I don't know about the guys, but I know us girls were just like dying. Like,
oh no,
it was a very steep
were in
climb.
pain.
Yeah, like we're mostly pushing up the climb. By the end, it was so steep. But like looking back on it, it was fun, just very hard. Yeah.
Is enduro like a focus of yours as well, or is that something you're looking at doing more of?
So it has been. I actually haven't ridden a downhill bike since I think like more than a year ago. Like I can't put an exact date on it, but yeah, like a while. And I've been working towards racing enduro, I think. Like I've been really enjoying it. I just love getting out and pedaling. So I thought, why not give that a crack? So I sort of did the Enduro Nationals and then sort of decided, like a few weeks after that, I actually messaged Wayno from Bicycle Tech Bar who sponsors me and said, oh, I'd love to race cannonball and maybe downhill nationals. Like I suddenly got this spark that, I'd like to do downhill again. And yeah, like, so he got me the range pretty quickly, luckily. Like I got it like 2 weeks before cannonball. And so wasn't really focusing on downhill, but it turned out that the enduro training was sort of worked well, apparently, like for downhill. But yeah, I am definitely focusing on enduro more at the moment.
Yeah, because like I remember realizing very late in the game that you were riding the enduro bike at nationals, and I was like, oh, that's a big track to ride a little bike, like a trail bike on.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sick trail bike. Like it's a 170 mil travel front and rear, and like she's beefy. Like she's a good bike, and especially because I'm quite small as well. But yeah, like it's not a downhill bike. Like you can, there is certain sections where you can tell, of course, it's not a downhill bike. But I just sort of, to get through the week, I suppose, I just kept telling myself it's a downhill bike. Like just ride it. Like that's what Duke kept telling me. Even like, I mean, honestly, yeah, it did feel really good. But sometimes I'd say to him, oh, like, I wonder if it is holding me back or this or that. He's like, dude, it's a downhill bike. It's not an enduro bike. Just ride it.
Yeah. I mean, both elite national champions are technically on trail bikes. Like it's insane. I don't know what sections of that track were kind of hard on that?
I think I can't remember like the name of the section, but you've got like the first bit was sweet on it because it was like hard packed pretty fast. So that was all good. But once you get to sort of the section that gets really dusty and big ruts and like sort of leading into the roots off camber route section, sort of, yeah, all of that, I think I did notice that I could feel like I was riding an enduro bike. But by the time you get to the bottom, it was sick at the bottom on the enduro bike, like on the hard packed fast stuff. Yeah. For sure. But yeah, so the only part where I really could notice that I had to sort of hold back a bit to make sure that I didn't crash or like slide out or get offline was that sort of dusty, ruddy section midway down sort of. But it was probably the same for everyone, honestly, even on downhill bikes. It was a hard section.
Definitely was. Yeah, it was brutal. Yeah. But yeah, all the way down there, I was like, I wish I had another 50 mil of travel in the rear. Like it just would have made.
Were you racing?
I was rolling down the hill. Yeah.
Hey, sick. Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah,
I
right.
wouldn't say I was racing.
Know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I did. Right. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. Yeah. Sick track. Like I love that place and I love that track, and the whole event was rad.
Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah.
And then, yeah, we're on the trail bike. You're riding it. Were you thinking you're going to win it? Like,
no, and especially because I didn't want to put pressure on myself. So even if I thought I could have won it, I knew that I've learnt for myself from past experiences that when I put that pressure on myself, like I think I can win or I want to win or that I end up putting too much pressure on myself and get too nervous and just end up not riding how I should. So I didn't even let that thought come into my mind. All I was thinking about was riding my bike down that hill as good as I could, and wherever that put me, I was going to be happy with. So like a qualied fourth, I think it was, a bit off the pace actually, like 7 seconds back or something. And I do remember thinking, oh yeah, like I'm a bit back, like, hopefully I can gain a few seconds. But I will be honest, I didn't expect to gain like that many seconds for sure come race day.
Yeah, it was quite a few.
Yeah.
It seems like there's two different types of mindset mainly. Like you got the people that just chill and are like you and they race fast when they're relaxed and whatever. And then people, I think like Jackson Frew and others that just like, yeah, I'm going to win this. And like, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, just super confident. Yeah.
And did it take you a while to realize that?
Yeah, I guess it sort of did. Like I've always known, like I think I'm not naturally as competitive as some people. I think I've sort of worked out. Yeah, like I get a bit more nervous than I probably should and stuff like that. So I have learned that when I do have a more relaxed approach overall, of course, like right before you race, you want to get revved up and get excited and get confident. Of course, you have to be confident to go flat out down a hill. But I think I've learned that leading up to that, if I'm more relaxed and just riding like and not thinking about where I want to end up and stuff like that, I definitely do ride better. Definitely, I've tested and proven it lately for myself. So I've got to stick with that, I think.
Yeah, like I find for myself, even though it's not the same level, but like if you're more relaxed, there's way less chance of me crashing if I'm not pushing and being as stressed. And
for sure.
I don't die as much. So it's definitely an interesting.
Can confirm. Works for me too. And that's what Tim Butler, he's sort of been coached me a fair bit since I've started riding. I remember meeting him. One of my, I'd only been riding a few months and I actually met him at a wobber. The very first time I met him, I tried riding down the rock garden, the beeline. I'd only been riding for a couple of months. So I remember crashing at the bottom and I was so embarrassed because he was standing there and I didn't even know him. And he said, "Oh, you've got potential." And I just crashed in front of him. What do you mean I've got potential? But he's like, "You just gave that a go." So he sort of has coached me since then. And I remember he's always told me with racing, he's like, go 90% because you're going to do that extra 10% anyway. So don't push yourself too crazy, which I think works for me personally as well.
That's a really good way of looking at it. I rate that.
Yeah.
Because if you want to go 100%, then you end up going 110 and blowing up. Yeah.
Too much.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
Do you have a process that you kind of go through on race weekends? Is there something that you've got set up, or you just out there riding your bike, having fun?
I'm still definitely learning. I've got a lot more. I'm still experimenting, I suppose you could say. But yeah, lately, I have approached the past few races in a similar way. Just coming into it, I think knowing that I've worked as hard as I can is a key. Sometimes I used to come into races and know full well that I had not been riding enough or I hadn't been training enough or something, and straight away from the get-go your mindset isn't where it should be. So that's one thing I've learned is come into it just knowing that you've tried as best as you can. And, you're never going to have a perfect setup before a race, things are always, but it's just knowing that I've done the best I can to get there and be in the best shape I can for the race is my number one thing. And then from there, just trying to remain relaxed throughout the week and ride and have fun. And riding with more people recently, I've noticed I love in practice, following. It's so sick how many girls there are now. It's just
I was going to ask you about that.
Oh, dude, I'm just so excited about it. Nationals was, and Cannonball, but especially Nationals was the first time I've noticed just how many girls are racing now, and a lot of young girls, of course, but even there was 15 girls in elite women. And I just remember in practice riding with a few of the girls, Connor, Milky, and Haz, of course, did a few laps with Haz and Mike. And I found for me that really helps with my nerves, riding with mates and following them down and they follow me and just stuff like that. And then, get to race day and have all your lines dialed.
Yeah, it was weird. That's the first Nationals I've ever rolled down a hill in. And just watching everyone ride as if it's mates during practice was such a weird kind of concept. I've been on the other side and watched it from the outside, but to experience on the inside, it was such a different vibe than I was expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an awesome vibe. Yeah, I think, now that that it's growing so much and so many more younger people coming through and so many girls, it's weird because a lot of people are like, oh, there's more competition now. What do you think about that? But I think it's amazing. It's pushing us all and everyone is so excited when other people are doing well and everyone loves helping each other out. It's so awesome. Everyone's competitors, of course, most people are there wanting to win, not everyone, of course, but a lot of people are. But I found that, it's not all about that. It's about helping each other progress and, just enjoying it. It's so good. The
way I see it is if they're doing better and they're faster than you, then you want to go faster than them. So you're going to get better in the long run. And then it flips around and it flips around. It's
yeah, literally. That's how it progresses. And it's, finally happening in the women's category, which is so sick. Like, just like towing each other into jumps, like, because there's a few jumps like on that track at nationals that it was kind of funny. Like, I was weirdly nervous to do the road gap. So like Connor sort of towed me into that on the first day, and then like, a few of us girls were nervous to hit the last jump, but like, I hit them on I think the first day of practice, and was able to give some tips to, some of the girls that might have been a bit nervous to hit that. So it's sick to be able to just give each other tips on sections that you're like not as strong on or nervous about. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it's so sick. I mean, man, the women's mountain biking and women's downhill is growing so rapidly at the moment. It's so good to see. Yeah. Just because there's so many more riders, and it's so much more entertaining for me on the outside. But what is it like going from thinking that your first race, there might have been 2 or 3 ladies that like the whole race, to now where there's 2 or 3 under 13s like competing?
Yeah, I just think it's awesome. Like, I think, like, I look at the junior women's categories now and see the level they're at compared to the level that like I was at and a lot of other girls were at when we were that young. And they're definitely killing it. And it's because there's more competition. Like, so I think that aspect is awesome, because I remember, like, that's another thing that actually I struggled with going over to Europe is there wasn't much competition here in Australia. And you get over there and there is a lot of fast women over there. So that in itself was daunting. So the fact that, we've got so many more young women racing at the moment, it's so good for them to be able to get used to that, having that competition and pushing each other to do better and build those relationships with each other. It's awesome. Like, a lot of us didn't have that when we were younger, that's for sure. So it makes me so excited.
Yeah. I mean, we had a race 2 weeks ago here, and I think overall there was 15 women.
Sick.
And most of them were under 17.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. And then I had a 13-year-old junior like girl tow me into the road gap because I just didn't know the speed for it. And I'm like,
how awesome is that? I
didn't realize that she was that young. And I got off and we got to the bottom, like, holy shit, you're like 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
How did you? And she's on a like trail bike.
That's so sick.
Just picked my bike up on Gumtree the next day because I can't get any better. But
I mean, like, that's like, there's so many young girls here on the coast as well coming up. It's so exciting. Like, one of the young girls, Kat, that I've been helping out a bit, like the other day I rode a wobble with her and she's already hit like the A-line rock garden there. She's 12. Like, I didn't even ride bikes when I was 12. Like, it's so exciting, like the progression that young women are having. It's, very exciting.
Have you noticed something different that's kind of helping accelerate that? Or do you think like having girls or ladies like you, Sean, Carolyn and Haz, like, you're all setting this massive example to show that it's not the Enduro Bros club that it was in the past? And like, dirty dudes high-fiving each other in a van, and it's not that lifestyle anymore.
Yeah, I think for sure because I experienced it myself. I look up to people like Haz and pretty much any girl or person who rides, really, I look up to. And I think it's the same for any young girl coming up. The more women they see shredding and riding, the more they think they can do it. Like, it's just sort of how it is, I suppose. Like, and I still find it with myself. I mainly do ride like with Duke and my brothers, just because they're who are around at home. There's not too many women like my age sort of around home to ride with. Like, it's different when I watch them do a feature. Like, I do second guess, like, oh, like, will I be all good doing that? Like, they are stronger than me, or like maybe I'm not up to that. But when you see a woman do something, you're like, okay, well, I've got the same, like, I'm the same. Like, there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to do that, if you know what I mean. Like, that can sort of help. Seeing another woman do something definitely helps.
Yeah, I think it's called the 900 theory. So like when Tony Hawk did the first 900, he was the first person to ever do a 900.
Yeah.
As soon as he did it, heaps of people would do it afterwards because they've seen one person do it and they're just like, oh, I guess I can do it now. And I think that same thing is happening.
Yeah. You think things aren't possible. It's like, it's the same with women's freeride at the moment. There's a lot of things that there's amazing women are doing right now that a couple of years ago you'd think, nah, like we can't do that. Like, so it's crazy. Yeah. But it makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah. Because they're just trying it. I guess, I don't know. I've never been on that side of the fence, so I can only ever provide opinion. But like, which I like to clarify because I'm just speaking from my perspective. But yeah, there was never maybe like Missy Geo, some of those crew were a bit looser and a bit rowdy, but there's never been anyone to go, oh, I'm going to go hit Darkfest chumps. Like, and now there is. It's so crazy.
So crazy. I know, yeah. It's just going to keep getting better, I think.
It is. And I guess what's it like having Duke as a partner? Because he's obviously pretty damn quick on a bike. He loves riding and froths it. Is it quite handy having someone that just wants to go out and ride and froth the sport as much?
Oh, 100%. He calls himself a professional sports and rec athlete. Like, he froths riding, but he also froths surfing and he froths moto riding and he absolutely froths trail building. And yeah, like he's been like, probably the biggest help with my riding. Like, he's been there since day one, literally. Like, he was there the very first day I rode a mountain bike and he's been there ever since. And has helped me with so many things, overcome so many obstacles of learning how to ride and how to race and he's just always having fun. It's so rare that he would ever be unhappy. Like, he's just froths life and froths riding. So he just makes every ride fun pretty much. It's good.
So good to watch. So good to watch ride a bike.
Yeah.
And you guys have been doing the van life a bit as well and traveling around in that?
Yeah, we have been. Like, we did plan, we were going to travel Australia this year from June. Yeah, we were going to like spend a year maybe traveling it. Like, we'd been thinking about it, but I've sort of dogged it. We're going to Europe now, although I think he's going to come to Europe anyway, so it's all good. But yeah, we have been van lifing it a bit. We enjoy it. Like, at Nationals, it wasn't our van, but we literally hired a Pantech truck and just like lived out of that for the week. Like, we didn't even have accommodation. We just like lived out of a truck, went to Kmart, bought a pump up mattress and a gas cooker. We ended up donating the stuff at the end. We didn't chuck it out or anything. We made sure we create waste, but it was the cheapest way to do it. It ended up being like really cheap because we needed a hire car anyway. So yeah, we do enjoy like doing it a bit rough, probably a bit dodgy, but we enjoy it. But yeah, we like to get away and go on riding trips, surf trips. We love it.
Were you even at the campsite for Maydena?
No, so we were lucky enough, one of our mates owns a property pretty much next door to the track. So we were just parked up next to that, that cafe, Time Cafe? Yeah, we were literally just in if you ever saw a budget truck just chilling there in that car park, that was us. So.
Yeah, cool. That's so good. Yeah, I was just in the back of the wagon. Like, I just converted my Subaru wagon into a makeshift bed and
sick.
Stayed.
We're not the only ones. It's good, eh? It's all you need.
You didn't drive from Thredbo to Maydena though, did you? So you
No, we were going to, but the reason we didn't was at the time we were thinking that we were going to maybe do the lap of Australia and we're going to be driving down to Tassie at a later time in the year. So we just sort of thought, we don't want to really do it twice, like in a row. So flights were pretty cheap and we just thought, why not? We'll just hire the truck. So that's how that ended up. But it was pretty gnarly. Like, we got home from Cannonball at, I think it was like, maybe 6 p.m. on the Sunday, and we flew out. Like, our flight got changed. It was supposed to be like in the afternoon on Monday, but it ended up being like 7 a.m. or something. So we had to leave home at like 4. It was pretty crazy. We had to like pack everything, clean our bikes, clean all our clothes, pack it all. We got like 3 hours sleep. It was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like there was a few of us that drove from SA to Thredbo. So we did the 15-hour drive and then stayed at Thredbo, and then we drove Thredbo to Maydena and then Maydena back to Adelaide in 2 weeks. It was hectic, but some of the best fun. Those road trips.
That would have been good though.
Oh, it was. My poor car, so broken after that, but it was sick.
How many Ks was the trip?
Including the boat, I think it's almost 4,000, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right.
It's not too bad, but it's just the time. Yeah. Like I think it was close to 50 hours of driving in 2 weeks. Yeah,
right. That's a lot.
But it was sick. Like doing that van.
Did you have someone in the car with you?
No, I did it solo. We convoyed over there, but then I didn't have any room left in the car to take anyone. Everything was packed in there. So
full to the brim. Yeah, it would have been, Subi.
But it's good. Like doing it that way is so much cooler sometimes than just flying there and getting a lift and
Oh yeah, it is for sure. Yeah.
I did have some major van envy when I saw Duke's in Highline. Your guys' van.
Oh, did you actually see his van?
Yeah. I was so envious of that thing because that's something I wanted for a long time.
He's put a lot of work into it. It's his pride and joy, that's for sure.
Oh, it
it's
would
his
be.
Pride and joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, it's a Japanese import 4-wheel drive Hiace van.
Yeah.
It's just next level.
Yeah. My 2 brothers just bought one of their own as well.
That's right. You mentioned that.
Started a bit of a thing.
Yeah.
So now there's 3 of them parked in the driveway. It's crazy.
Don't worry. As soon as I got back from Highline, I was on car sales and on like Import Monster and stuff. I'm like, where do I get one of these things?
Yeah, they're sick. Like the only reason I don't have one is because Duke has one. So
so you did nationals, did really well there. And I'm guessing you thought you might have had to go on to Oceanics for World Champs qualifications. What was Oceanic Champs like? It looked a bit different to other downhill tracks.
It was definitely different, completely different to Maydena. I'll say that much. It was very dusty, and most people raced it on enduro bikes, so I didn't have a choice. I only had the enduro bike, so that worked in my favor. I didn't really have to decide. I just had what I had. Definitely. There was like one section of the track that was pretty gnarly and steep, and at first, only 50% of people were making it down this particular chute. They ended up doing a little bit of work to it. It was pretty crazy. But then there was a fair pedally bit at the end. But look, it was a challenge. It was different. It was just different. But I was actually pretty crook that week, not with COVID. I ended up getting COVID the following week, but I think the whole couple months took a toll on me, and I came down with something. I was doing COVID tests every day because I was like, God, I just don't feel right, just struggling to breathe. Didn't have COVID, but so it was a really tough week, it ended up being, but we got through it.
We obviously did because you took the win there as well, right?
Yeah, just by 0.5, I think, 0.5 or 4 or something. It's been some tight racing.
Yeah, it's been good.
It's been sick,
So good. Instead of having those massive 7-second blowouts or whatever it is, usually having that nice tight competitive.
It's going to push us heaps. It's so good. Yeah.
So what's on the plans for this year? You mentioned EWS stuff. Are you going to try and go to Worlds as well?
Yes. Yeah. So the plan is first race over there will be Crankworks, Innsbruck. So we'll be racing the pump track, dual slalom and downhill there. And then still got to completely work it out, but I'm hoping to race a couple downhill World Cups.
Yeah, cool.
Possibly Lenzerheide and Andorra, but don't hold me to it. I haven't quite decided exactly what ones, but probably no more than 2 because I'm just sort of going to do a bit of everything this year. I'm going to be doing the 2 EWS rounds in September. Well, sorry, downhill worlds first in end of August, I think it is, as long as I am successful in applying for that. And then, the 2 EWS rounds, one of them is at Loudenville in France and the other one, Crans, Montana. They're like back to back. So it's going to be crazy.
Lots of French riding by the sounds of it. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, I'm so excited. But I'm pretty excited that I get to go over for a few months this time and really just try to get to do as much riding as I can, and pretty excited that Duke might be coming along. It'll just be an absolute awesome mission.
Yeah, it sounds sick. I'm pretty jealous. I won't lie. World champs, excited, World champs next year is on the list for sure, just to go to, because I think it's Fort William. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, right, cool. I haven't even looked.
But yeah, I just want to go to one. That sounds good. But I think
it's awesome. You have to.
I think having that time over and beforehand is going to do you so well. Like, it's going to be so much more successful that way, for sure.
I think so. Yeah, that's something I definitely took away from my first overseas trip. And I've really, tried to make sure this time, like I will be probably Crankworks Innsbruck will be pretty soon. Like I'll be getting over there and doing that within a couple of weeks, but it's not as hardcore as a World Cup. So it will still sort of be able to ease me into it, get used to the riding, and then spend a couple of months riding before downhill Worlds. So yeah, it'd be sick.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Keen as to watch that happen. Really keen. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be just a good Australian contingent this year, especially like Crankworks and EWS. Like I think this year we're going to be killing it. The French have still got that downhill edge.
They are fast.
But I think like EWS and Crankworks, we're going to see some podiums for sure.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's going to be a heap of us over there. Like I'm so excited.
It's going to be sick.
Haz and Mikey, sure Caroline will be over there, and I'm not sure. There's a few of us doing the EWS. Zoe, Cuthbert, and Lucy. So it's going to be so sick. Like, so excited.
So who kind of supports you and helps you out with that? Obviously, you're self-funded a fair bit, but have you got many sponsors or anyone else kind of helping you out there?
Yeah, so I'm pretty lucky to be supported by I've got like a few sponsors: Boost Mobile, Darko Clothing, Bicycle Tech Bar, Crush, and it's hard to think of them all at once. But they helped me out with Norco Australia, of course, through Bicycle Tech Bar. So they helped me out with all of that stuff. And a little bit of funding to get over, which is super helpful. But a lot of it is self-funded.
Did you proactively go out and find sponsors? How did that kind of come about? Like, or was it mainly through the shop? Or
so I've been fairly lucky. Wayno from Bicycle Tech Bar, super awesome. He sort of got the Norco deal happening with Norco Australia, and he's supported me for quite a few years just through the shop with maintenance, servicing and parts and stuff. I was super lucky with Darko Clothing as well. Duke was actually sponsored by them first, and he was going to a photo shoot and at the time, it was before we were dating, but he's like, oh, do you mind if my friend Ellie comes? And like just came along, and I was just going to hang out. But then they're like, oh, here, you can join in the shoot. And so just like became part of the family since then. So that was like 6 years ago. Like, so being a part of the Darko fam for a while, which has been really cool. I've sort of just met everyone, to be honest. I've never really approached people like by email or anything. Like I met Matt and Emma from Crush at Fredbo one time, just got chatting.
Hard to avoid them.
Yeah. Oh, they're awesome. I love them so much. So sick.
Best.
But and then with Boost Mobile, it's a pretty funny story, but I actually met the guy Jason who runs Boost Oz. He actually bought my younger brother's bike, and I met him one time, and he came, and in the shed I have a few of the checks hanging up in the shed, like just like the big novelty check from Junior. He's like, oh damn, you do a bit of racing, and we got chatting, and then that's sort of how I met him and progressed to go on to get a contract with Boost. So that was a pretty cool way of We
That's
still
so
talk
good.
about it. I can't believe that that's how I met him. And I was only in the shed by chance. Like, I was packing my bikes to go to New Zealand, Duke and I, and just turned up and was buying the bike, and we just got chatting.
That's a new way. I'm just going to start posting novelty checks out on my front lawn or something.
Things up. Yeah, that's definitely a very lucky situation. But so Boost have supported me since 2019. They've been an awesome support, and so lucky to have them on board.
Yeah, they've been killing it lately. Like, they've got a fair few people on. It's really good.
Yeah. And like they're sponsoring like the Fredbo Gravity Series and Cannonball, and like getting amongst so much more mountain biking now, which is so exciting to see. That's one of their focuses. It's awesome.
Sick. Is there anything else I think I've missed? I don't think I have. I'm trying to think.
I feel like we've talked about it
a fair bit, I
reckon. Yeah.
All right, we'll start wrapping things up then. I got 3 questions I like to ask most people or everyone when I remember them. Yep. What advice would you have to anyone that wants to get out racing or just try mountain biking and succeed at it, I guess?
Yeah. My advice would be get a bike and just get out there and ride, and try to meet people that are at a similar level to you to ride with, and push each other if that's what you want to do. If you want to try to progress with it, that's probably the best way, is find people that are a similar level, push each other. Coaching is always awesome. I never really got official coaching, but I definitely got coached by people like that were a lot better than me, and I think that's really helpful, just to know that what you're doing is right. And just keep riding, honestly. Like, you can get caught up with how you think you need to train and whatever, but like, as long as you're out there riding your bike, like, you're going to be doing well. I reckon. Like, that's the key.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's one thing I'm trying to do more of, is stop fiddling with tech stuff and all that. I just want to ride my bike. Yeah. Is there anything you would have done differently or changed up until now on your journey or anything up to this point in your career?
I don't think so. Like what everyone says, your journey is just what makes you, and you learn all your lessons. Sometimes learning your lessons the hard way is the best way, because you really learn and makes you who you are. So no, I wouldn't say like there's anything drastic I'd change. Maybe try to get a little bit more confidence sooner. So I guess that's a tip I can have, give to maybe some younger people out there that don't have a lot of self-confidence and are a bit shy or anxious, like I definitely was, and just sort of like never thought of myself as a good rider or stuff like that. And I think if you can try to change that mindset as early as possible, I think that's one thing that's important. If people are out there that are shy, I think if I could have got on top of that sooner, it would have helped. But like everything, it's what makes you, and you get past that.
Yeah, I think most mountain bikers are pretty friendly. So if you're out there on a ride and say hi to someone, you're never going to get your head bitten off.
Exactly. I know, yeah.
And last question, it seems to be the hardest for a fair few people, but if you need to get motivated or are feeling a bit like under the weather and don't want to go racing or riding or anything, is there any music or anything you kind of listen to or do that motivates you to get out there?
For me, strictly Rage Against the Machine.
Okay. Yeah.
Just gets me absolutely psyched. Like that's like for racing and really wanting to get like pumped up. But so that's what works for me. But of course everyone's different. That wouldn't work for everyone.
Yeah, I think you're surprisingly the first person to say them, which is crazy.
Really?
I haven't even thought about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Have you got a particular song that you listen to, or is it just whatever's on?
I suppose my like favorite for like a racing and stuff, probably Renegades of Funk. But honestly, I listen to them all. But yeah, for me, that's what I enjoy the most. It's just got a good beat and gets you hyped enough, but it's not too crazy. Like not as crazy as some of the other songs.
Perfect. Sick. Yeah, I rate that. Well, yeah, thanks so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a good chat.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's awesome to, I don't even think I've met you in person before, right? Like,
Probably not.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, so it's been awesome to have a chat.
Pretty good at hiding for such a ginormous human. So I try my best to keep out of people's way. So yeah. We'll definitely catch up
next time.
Yeah, I'll be at as many events as possible over the next couple of years. So it's going to be sick.
Awesome.
But yeah, thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Can't wait to see how you go this year. I'm super keen. It's going to be good.
Thank you.
There we go. That was the potty with Ellie Smith. Hope you enjoyed it. There's a bunch of random shit talk in there. We talk a lot about welding. Yes, it's still a bike podcast. We're not going to turn into some welding podcast because that'd be hopeless. I know nothing. I hope you enjoyed it, and we can't wait to see what Ellie does at Crankworks and overseas this year. She's going to absolutely smash it. Again, thanks to the supporters, Trek, FE Sports, NS Dynamics, Tailored Trails, Lead Out Sports, Franked, Dirt Surfer, Crush, and Fist. If you want to support the guys that support us, head over to their web stores, grab some kit, use Beyond the Tape 10 or Beyond the Tape 15. One of those codes is going to get you a discount at any of their stores. If you aren't looking to purchase anything from those guys and want to help us out a little bit more directly, then head over to the merch store. Or better yet, something for free. Tell your mum, tell your nana, tell your dog, tell your budgerigar, tell Goldfish, tell everyone about the podcast, share it around, and let people know. Anyway, till next time, have a bunch of fun. Peace out.